Here in America, we are 25 times more likely to die from gun violence compared to people in other industrialized countries. In fact, no other country like ours comes close. This must stop. My fellow Americans, we don't have to accept this as normal. It's not normal. It's not inevitable. It's an epidemic that needs to be cured. And we need to marshal every resource and make every effort to stop people from dying. Make no mistakes. There are steps that they can take today to address the over 33,000 gun deaths that occur in our nation every single year. If we want to make our country safer, we can't just be working to defeat bad legislation like federally mandated concealed carry and the deregulation of silencers. We must be working to pass good legislation that keeps extremely deadly weapons out of the wrong hands. But in order to do that, we, you, must demand leadership. We need a president who recognizes that we have a gun violence problem and will work towards solutions. Americans need more than our president's prayers. We need his plans. We need a Congress that will stand up to the special interests, look at the evidence, and act to save lives. Public safety must be our top priority. Gabby and I are in D.C. today because we had planned on joining Ralph Northam, candidate for governor of Virginia, on the campaign trail, talking about how to keep our community safer. It's because politics matters. Who we elect matters. Don't let anyone tell you not to talk about politics when we talk about guns. Gabby got into politics because she wanted to govern. The people we elect will either take us backwards, condemning us to many more days when we wake up to more carnage and more lost lives, or they will take us forwards towards a safer country. Here are a few things that our leaders can do and should do today that will keep Americans safer. Pass universal background checks to make sure everyone gets a background check before they obtain a gun. The studies are clear. Where these laws are passed, fewer people get shot. Where they have been repealed, murder and violence has increased. Subject the sale of the most lethal weapons to stronger oversight and regulation. You can buy an AR-15 in a parking lot with no background check at all. That's crazy. Require guns to be safely secured in the homes of gun owners so kids can't get their hands on them, so unstable relatives do not have access to them. Stop domestic abusers from getting guns. Women are too often killed by abusers with firearms, and most mass shootings start as domestic violence incidents. Allow restraining orders, just like we do with a domestic abuser, to stop folks in crisis from accessing guns. Stop the trafficking of firearms from states with weaker laws to states with stronger laws. And require the CDC and our other public health agencies to invest the resources to prevent gun deaths and injuries like we do for every other similar cause of death or injury. And as a first step, Congress, and we're calling Congress to do this, to establish a special commission, equal parts Democrat and Republicans, to come together towards solutions that will save lives. And finally, don't let anybody tell you that we need more giveaways to the NRA, more profits for the gun industry. Does anybody actually believe that our gun laws are too strong? Give me a break. Action to save lives is the only acceptable moral course for our country. Without action, we are asking one person to be the next person, to die because of our weakness to address evil. And then another, and then another, and then another. Gabby? The nation.
The nation's counting on you.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I'll take some.
Mr. Kelly,
Yeah.
and what do you think has been the deficiency here? We've been at this over and over and over again. Is there something, and hear this question the right way, please, respectfully.
Right.
Do you feel though that there has been something in your legislative strategy that has failed after Sandy, after well, we'll go back to Columbine. Why has this never resonated, and here we are again today, and you're making the same case that's been made year after year?
Great. I mean, good point. I mean, it's the polarization of our politics. You know, it's people lining up on the side of a powerful corporate interest with a lot of money, who, by the way, happens to support a lot of candidates with a lot of resources to get them elected to office. And that's a problem. And it needs to be addressed.
And how do you overcome that? Because this
well, so we have been, we've been working to overcome this with the resources that we have, right? To put the people in office that will accept this as a public health issue, that will work to come up with responsible and sensible solutions that, by the way, protect the Second Amendment, but at the same time keep guns out of the wrong hands. Now, the resources are not balanced. You know, so we obviously are always looking, you know, it's quite out of balance until we, you know, work on fixing campaign finance reform. It will stay out of balance.
Mr. Kelly, could I just pick up?
Mark, Congress didn't do anything after Gabby was shot, and didn't do anything after Orlando or Sandy.
Right.
But what gives you any hope at this point that they'll do something now?
Well, right now they're going in the wrong direction, right? I mean, there's a couple pieces of legislation up there that's working to, you know, make silencers readily available to everybody, where everybody can carry a gun basically in any state if they can carry in another state, getting rid of gun-free zones in schools. I mean, they're going in the wrong direction. We need to get them moving in the right direction. What it takes is for people that put these folks in office to demand action. You know, make a phone call. It's pretty easy to do, and not a lot of people do it. Call your member of Congress, call your United States Senator, call your governor, and tell them that you want action.
And then as a follow-up on that, what kind of legislation do you think would have best minimized the carnage in Los Angeles?
Right. I mean, I outlined some things today, right? I mean, background checks for all gun sales, you know, is a good first step. Gun trafficking, you know, really taking a hard look at what kind of lethal weapons should we allow people to get easy access to. I mean, we don't have all the details in this shooting today, but it was pretty clear that he used some kind of automatic weapon, maybe multiple automatic weapons to do this. I mean, these weapons are designed to kill a lot of people very quickly.
Kelly, you talked about the polarization of politics. How do you stop it?
Well, I mentioned one thing you can do is campaign finance reform is a good start. When we started Americans for Responsible Solutions, our goal was just to bring some balance on this issue, and we're working towards that goal. We've helped pass 200 pieces of legislation in over 45 different states. So on the state level, we've done pretty well. We feel pretty good about it. But, you know, Washington, D.C., much more difficult place.
Mark Kelly, have you ever thought about trying to work on this issue from the inside? You've been fighting on the outside. Could you be a better advocate in the Congress?
Well, every time somebody asks me that question, I do think about it. But, you know, Gabby and I, you know, we have been incredibly effective, our organization, in getting legislation passed in more than 45 state capitals. So we're moving this in the right direction. But until we seriously accept this, and the people in that building accept this as a serious public health crisis on both sides of the aisle, we will have other mass shootings like this.
Commander Kelly, what do you say to people, Democrats, and even other people who agree with you on this issue broadly, that coming out on the day of a shooting like this is politicizing it and not appropriate?
You know, if not now, when? Right? I mean, you know, Gabby and I have all those folks in our thoughts and prayers. We had over 50 Americans die, 500 more injured by gunfire, probably from a .223 caliber round that can fly through multiple people. and cause mass carnage. You know, when you're not going to talk about it on a day like this, I mean, how many times can we say that over and over again? Now's not the time. Well, today is the time.
Mark, why do you think these shootings are becoming more and more deadly?
You know, they're deadly because unstable people that shouldn't have access to these kind of guns can easily get them. I mean, why is this one worse than Orlando? I don't know. Maybe after the investigation we'll find out what this guy's intent was. It's pretty obvious that, you know, he went after a group of people. He ambushed a group of people that didn't have any place to go, and there were a lot of them, and he had a lot of firepower. So, who knows?
A lot of what you're suggesting, they're good starts, but you know they're half measures compared to say what was done in Australia after Port Arthur. Will it ever be possible in the United States for us to sort of like eliminate the fetishization of gun culture that, you know, has the special interest so built up, or are we going to be working around the monolith of the Second Amendment for a long time?
Well, I'm a gun owner. Gabby's a gun owner. I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I served our nation for 25 years in the United States Navy. I flew in combat defending our Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Second Amendment is important here in this country. However, you know, we can respect the Second Amendment and the rights of responsible gun owners, and at the same time, we can keep guns out of the hands of criminals, domestic abusers, you know, potential mass shooters, and idiots. I mean, we can do that. You know, and we've got 33,000, well, last year, actually, in 2015, I think 35,000 Americans died from gun violence. That number's been kind of trending up in the last couple years. Hey, there's no reason why it can't be 70,000. But if we're smart about this and demand that these people in the building behind me take action, we can cut that number in half. There's no reason why we can't. We don't have to have, you know, most of the children that die in the industrialized world from gun violence die here in the United States. I mean, is that really what we want? And you know, the sad thing is that we can fix this. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Yeah, you bet. Thanks so much, everybody.